Hey, what do you say to everybody? Geo City back here with you on the Focus to the Finish YouTube channel. Greetings and salutations to one and all on this Sunday morning, the day after the completion of the 2025 Breeders' Cup World Championships and the 2025 Major League Baseball World Series. This show is about recapping Championship Saturday, race by race. So I think you'll find lots that I share sort of interesting, especially if you were involved throughout the day. But first things first, as we near the start of a brand new NFL Sunday, let's talk about that World Series. It'd be remiss if I didn't share a thought about the World Series. Now, I'm watching Major League Baseball playoffs and the World Series probably in excess of 50 years. I remember so many very intricate details of so many of the World Series. But this series, 7 games, be honest with you, I've watched every inning of every game, even the 18-inning game that was up, went off, ended 3 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast. I watched every inning. Fabulous series, fabulously managed series, fabulously played series, offensive, pitching, strategic incidences, clutch hitting, just a fabulously entertaining World Series. If you're a baseball fan, I'm sure you agree. If you don't, let me know, but it was really, arguably, at least for what I've seen, top 3 all-time World Series played, and to go 7 games into extras, and as compelling as the game was last night, just sick. Great stuff. Great for sports fans. Great way to cap off a very involved, emotional, thrilling day at the Breeders' Cup. All right, so let's talk about the Breeders' Cup. First things first, before I handle, and what I'm going to do is, I got all my work here. Hours and hours and hours and hours of work and my racing form with me to recap each race, but I wanted to make some statements first. One of the things that was identifiable, again, for you new handicappers and horse players out there, for the ones that have been around 3 or 5 years, 7 years, the ones that have been around 20 years, and certainly the horse players that have been around the game for 30 or more years, I know you can directly relate. So that was the 42nd year of the Breeders' Cup Championships. And somebody like myself, and if you know me well, and you're part of this channel, and many of you have actually engaged in my process, so whether I do a deep dive where I provide my findings, the why in terms of how I feel a race is going to unfold, or if I write a very well-thought, in-depth analysis / what are the important findings in terms of me breaking down a race. If you know, you know. So yesterday is another example of how this game compels us and, yes, frustrates us. And I'll tell you why. Again, and you know this, but if you don't know, listen up. As a handicapper, and trust me when I say this, you're not going to meet many people industry-wise that puts his heart and soul and the amount of hours and time into the process like I do. And I'm talking about past performance, reconciliation, breaking down every indication in the DRF beyond the speed figures, checking out not only what some people do the last few races, but the historical data for every starter. Past performances, their career past performances, whether it's a 2-year-old or an older horse. So same applied with Juvenile Friday and Championship Saturday. And then the deep dive into pedigree, the bloodlines, the connections, the jockeys, the owners, the trainers. And then, of course, race review. And I found so many specific, very important indications that I put in writing and I kept upstairs here. So the reason why I'm starting off with this, because I came into this Breeders' Cup so ridiculously prepared. But you know what? The game, there are so many contributing factors, crazy contributing factors, that happen during the course of a race. The split-second jockey decisions, the break, the overall trip, the pace. You could be so prepared, make so many astute, accurate, precise decisions, but in a 12, 13, 14 horse field, there are just a myriad of things that could translate to what happens on the track, which results in the final ultimate order of finish. Now, there aren't any excuses. We have to be decisive in our approach. Point I'm making, and please remember this, and I want to hear your thoughts in a comment. Whether it's a $16,000 filly claimer on a Wednesday afternoon at Aqueduct or a Breeders' Cup Championship race, you still obviously need luck. And then there are some things that just are beyond your control. And you could do so many things ridiculously correct with, comparing the opponents in the field, being prepared regarding the demographics of the track, jockey talent, pace, all the numbers that the Daily Racing Form provides, whatever you use. I'm a bias guy, but I understand and often check out the thoroughgraphs, but I'm a bias guy because I know how to interpret it well. But whatever you use, you could be a Rags guy or a Brisnet guy, whatever. But then there's race review. And if you look at, let's talk about Championship Saturday. If you break down horse by horse throughout the entire field, you have to paint the picture, at least I do in my mind. And for you seasoned handicappers, maybe you'll understand, or maybe you don't do this and you should learn how to do this. You have to come up with a conclusion as to how you feel the race will unfold. Paint that picture in your head. And that's what I did. And you know what? I'm proud of myself for one thing. Doesn't translate to cashing tickets sometimes, because ultimately it's the window decisions that matter. What did you actually wager? For how much? What was your exotic nature? Were you a conservative in your approach, or you were aggressive in your approach? So it's compelling. So my point I'm making here, as a handicapper, as a horse racing player, enthusiast, gambler, all those decisions, and if you guys are young kids out there don't know what window decisions are, because you probably never went to the window, it's how you tap on your phone, on your computer, the click of the mouse. What do you actually decide? How do you structure your tickets? So I did yesterday, and sometimes my heart was on the floor. I made great decisions, and I made decisions that bothered me because after the race unfolded, I realized I could have made another decision at the window. And you're going to hear some of this when we go over the race by race of how the day unfolded. But I just wanted to open up with that because that's what brings us back. Racing is thrilling. It's an enjoyable game. If you know, you know. If you go to the track often, you know. If you're somebody like myself, has been through it for decades, but now through a very lengthy process, I prepare myself weeks in advance for something like this, the Breeders' Cup. But I try to just cover everything, no stone unturned. And then the race unfolds, and you did ridiculously so many things correct. And you still don't get paid for it. That's the frustrating thing, and that's what keeps us coming back. Now, look, I'm not going to exaggerate one thing. If I handicap 14 Breeders' Cup Championship races and I come to a conclusion, I'm not wasting my time in terms of capping it and painting that picture in my head. I'm betting the race. So then you have to decide, all right, what do you play? How much do you play in terms of your available capital on each race? And of course, when you win, you could rally behind your win and start to use the capital that you just gained to make more money. You're parlaying it. And then the frustrating part is you could put together a wonderful pick 3 or pick 4, pick 5. And the difficult parts you nail, and the easy parts that should have been a layup don't materialize for you. But keep those notes and let's go over recapping the Breeders' Cup from Saturday. First of all, in the comments of my last show, I offered, because I love you guys and I appreciate you being with me, I offered the undercard races 1, 2, and 3 on Saturday's card. I put my analysis, albeit a little brief because I didn't have the time to write as much as I do for what I provide for folks that are in my corner, and we have that arrangement together. But, so what do? I start Breeders' Cup Saturday, crushing the first race winner, right on top, 10:40 to win. I crushed the second race winner, right on top, 6 and change to win. I'm excited. I'm up. I have their money. I have capital. By the way, in the first race, even my under horses, and for those of you who know, if you use the horses underneath and play the triple key, a $411 triple for $2. $411. And in that race, check it out. Race 1, Del Mar. The 3, Suchet, Rosario up for John Sadler. I had a big exacta with the 8, Moonlight Sonata, with Antonio Frizzou. Watch the replay of that race. This is what I'm saying. Now, you can do so many things right and still lose. So the race is 1.16 on the lawn, and I get nosed out of the exacta. Nosed. 1.16 on the lawn, winner by convince, win, miss the exacta by a nose. As a handicapper, as a player, did I do anything wrong? No. Isn't what I'm saying? Luck is a big part of it. Those window decisions. I stand by my decision. I played it hard. Now, I hit the double, and I hit the pick 3. Because in race 3, my top choice didn't win. I didn't go 3 for 3, but my third choice won. So it was my secondary ticket on the pick 3. So in the first 3 races before the Breeders' Cup started, I had 2 winners and a third choice winner, and I already made money and I was comfortable because I had their capital, but I didn't hit the high note because the exacta was taken from me by a nose. All right? How many of you can relate? Put that in the comments if that's happened to you. I bet you it's happened to you dozens of times if you're playing this game long enough. All right. So the undercard was done. All right. Let's put that aside. Remember all those things I said. Now let's talk about the Breeders' Cup Super Saturday Championships. So race 4 was the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Okay? I am on Hope Road. Now, that's it, yeah. I had every reason to like this horse. For all the reasons I put in my analysis, didn't work out. And I had Jose Ortiz on him. But they're living, breathing animals. And as much as my finds justified loving the horse, didn't get it done. So who wins? One of the horses that made my handicap, Splendora, but way underneath. I lost. Nothing I could do. So I was alive in the pick 5 after the first 3 races, and I got knocked out there. Okay, because my pick 5 ticket wasn't so much of a substantial play, because I was waiting to play my pick 5s in the Breeders' Cup entirely. But remember, the first 2 races of the Breeders' Cup connected to the undercard. So, what happened in that race, again, painting the picture, I didn't have the winner, but I had every horse to hit the board. Lot right, lose the race. Let's move forward. Race 5. This was the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Now, in this race, my heart was taken from my chest and dropped to the floor. And one of the most disheartening things in this game, we all know, happened. Okay? My second biggest win wager of the year, and I keep a strict book, was on the 8 AG Bullet. For all the reasons I put in my analysis, I love this horse. Mind you, it is a 14-horse field, or 13. I think there was a scratch. So you're going 5 furlongs on the lawn, a 13-horse field. I send it in, and AG Bullet is not 7-5. AG Bullet's 5-1. Loaded in the double, loaded in the pick 3, significant win wager. She runs a beautiful race, but there's one horse that just was better on Breeders' Cup Saturday, and that was the 10, She's So Spicy, who happened to be ridden by Irad, who I always endorse as the best rider in the world right now. How do you think I felt in deep stretch turning for home when I saw Irad on She's So Spicy doing that to me? So in that race, I lose my win bet. She's So Spicy me, makes my handicap underneath. And then all my horses in my handicap hit the board, and I don't cash my super, my exacta, my win bet, and my triple. Again, huge field. I break it down to 4 or 5 horses. They're all there, and I don't get paid. Can anybody relate to that? All right, let's go to the 6th race. The Breeders' Cup Sprint, Grade 1. What happens in the 6th race? I crush it. I love Ben Tornado for all the reasons I put in my analysis. Winner. Score. Lead in my double. Missed my big exacta, which was Ben Tornado over Lovesick Blues. Why? Lovesick Blues breaks lethargically out of the gate, eliminated basically at the start, going 6 panels. However, my third choice, Imagination, runs second, runs a big race. Because so my order was 10, 3, 7, and I don't got to give the rest of them. I went deep in the race, but I played 2 exactas, one powerful and one as my secondary exacta. Thank God I had that covered, and I loved winning on Brentonado. but I missed the high note. Still, the exacta was a beautiful thing. Paid $38 cold. Of course, I didn't have it just once. I was able to collect $380 on the race because I had it 10 times. In that scenario, still wasn't the high note, but I was comfortable hitting with the 10 because it put me in great position going forward. Let's go to the 7th race. The Breeders' Cup Distaff. Hey, you guys are going to love this. I think you'll love it. So, you paint that picture, you cap the race. The 8 Seismic Beauty on paper had a significant tactical advantage based on track performances. You got to use the horse, right? So I couldn't get past that horse. But however, in my blood and bones, I really felt my second choice, Scylla, had a huge opportunity with Alvarado up for Mott. Feisty mare who I knew had the potential to put it all together and upset the field. Bang! 17-20 win. And she ran like Forrest Gump, like the wind blows. Yes, I lost my exotics because my exotics underneath, up and down, I had Seismic Beauty in it. Thank God I played the double with Ben Tornado. The double was beautiful. It paid $50. Don't need to disclose how many times I had it. But my point I'm making, again, I used the 2 going forward, and only the 2 out of the Breeders' Cup Distaff, big field, well, not huge field, but I had to eliminate some really talented fillies. He wins, she wins. I don't hit the stuff underneath, but I have my double, and I have Scylla alive going forward. Doubles, pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s. Big thrill. Emotional. All right, let's go to race 8. The Breeders' Cup Turf. This was the race that made us all drop to the floor. All right? I was loaded with some beautiful, beautiful tickets. I'm talking about paid in the thousands. Because my top choice was redistricting with Pride Up for Chad Brown. Because I felt, when I broke down this entire race, that Rebels Romance could be vulnerable to be defeated. Of course, that classic, I call him the king of the division, he made my handicap, but I felt he could get beat. So, because I'm deep in this race, going forward, I feel very comfortable. What happens? Ethical Diamond, the 14 horse, who, by the way, was 25-1, but in my opinion should have been 85-1. Now, only because this is the top shelf marathon race, I don't need to waste too much time if I break down the talent that was throughout the race, okay? And you guys know, you know who I had in my handicap. The reason why you can't use this horse and what compels us and perplexes us is at the same time, the trainer was an old-timer who won a lot of races, but in steeplechase races, hurdles. And even though this horse had wonderful pedigree for the distance, if you break down turf pedigree going 1.5 miles, and the horse won his last 2, and he was 3 for 7 on the lawn. So you may say, horse won 2 straight, horse nose for the wire. But in this field, from the 14 hole, with a boatload of established killer talent, it made no sense. So as a competent handicap, I couldn't use the 14. I didn't even use the 14 underneath. Now, how do you hit this horse? If 14 is your date of birth, if you like diamonds, or if you were born in Ireland where this horse was bred, maybe you had it. Or maybe you hit the all button on your multiple ticket. Cost a lot of money in a big field. All my tickets, all my forward races, dead in the water. Let's go to race 9, the Breeders' Cup Classic. Woo! Now, if you know, you know. But let me just say one thing. I'll pay respect to Forever Young, who got it done. Handy horse, tremendous stamina in terms of traveling all over the globe. And good for the Japanese, you finally got it done. I didn't land on Forever Young. She was in my deeper exotics. I was all over fierceness. I had fierceness, mind frame, Sierra Leone, journalism. Ironically, I believe it was only a field of 9, but my top 5, who I worked so hard at, became the top 5 in the finish. Nothing to write home about, but I did eliminate some others, but my top 5 was scrambled. Okay? So, Forever Young, tip my hat, beats me. But you know what happened in the race? I credit Forever Young's jockey for being the aggressor, for holding position, for keeping, not only for being handy and being up there on the pace, but for keeping fierceness from doing what he needed to do. Fierceness in a lot of ways, whoever's on, I played a nice wager on him and I had him going forward, but I used a few in this race. Fierceness ran a wonderful race. He lacked room to get his turn of foot going and his acceleration going because Forever Young kept him out of it. Fierceness ran big race. So did Sierra Leone. But I felt my blood and bones. Sierra Leone would again, who's never been out of the money, would hit the board, be there late. Again, you could paint the perfect picture and not win. Right in so many ways, but don't cash a ticket. Tip my hat to the Japanese. God bless you. Felt good for them. But you know what? Forever Young is a little horse. He's not built like the others. He's still got it done. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic. Let's go to race 10. The Breeders' Cup Mile. 1 mile on a lawn. All right. Who won the race? Notable Speech wins the race. Now, Notable Speech makes my handicap. Played him just under. I knew he was a threat to win the race, but I didn't have him. He was my 4th choice. Want to talk about not getting paid for some hard work? My top choice was the 11, Rhetorical with Irad. So now I need Irad to take care of business. The horse ran a good race, but not enough at the end. But what killed me in this race, and if you know, you know, I gave out to all my followers. Where is he here? Hold on. Formidable Man, the 8. For many reasons. I didn't just say I like Formidable Man. I detailed very specific, intricate reasons why this horse would run big at the Breeders' Cup. Folks, he's 18-1. 18-1. Not 3-1, not 4-1, not 12-1. 18-1. Runs a wonderful race. Finishes second. Makes the exacta under the favorite. And all I have is a $2 saver on it. The exacta paid $120. You don't think this gets to me? When I was doing my work, I almost landed on Notable Speech. But I just felt that there was some up-and-comers here, and I trusted Irad more than who was on Notable Speech. I like William Buick. I just thought Irad had a hot horse. You don't think I'm hitting myself in the head? When I was doing my work, burning midnight oil, you don't think I wish I landed on Notable Speech and my Formidable Man? So again, huge field, 13 horses. I do the hard part. I get the hard part done. The most difficult thing to do is to find a diamond in the rough. 18-1, who finishes second. And if I only was decisive on using Notable Speech, If I was decisive in putting him on top, I would have had form. Who knows what I could have made in the race. A $20 exacta for those that follow me, $1,200. Again, you could do so many things right, still tear up your ticket. Let's go to the 11th, the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. All right, 1 mile on the dirt, crushed this race, missed my main exacta, but Nisos, thrilling race, down the lane, noses apart, gets up by this much. But you know what? He was only 4 to 5, so it's not going to pay a lot, and I didn't play a big win bet on him. But I had him in a big double, and I needed that. So I lasted, thrilling. I felt like he was going to be really tough to beat. Thought he was going to win by 2 or 3, but he won by that much. Then we close it out with race 12. One of my best bets on the entire card. For the reason that you guys know you know. That's the 6 Diamond Rain. Teenage jockey. Felt it was a good spot. I thought I was going to get 8 to 10 to 1. He's sitting there 9 to 2. I'm watching his Godolphin Blue Silks, and as the race unfolded, I really felt I had a great chance to win this. Built like a colt, this filly. Not enough. Runs a close third. But the reason why I used the horse, because I thought the horse would turn the tables on Cinderella's Dream, who was the race favorite, turns the tables successfully, do a lot right, remember, and still not get paid. But a horrible, horrible, unfortunate finish. Third doesn't pay a win bet. To boot, my handicap was 6, 9, 13, 5. The 5 is 10 to 1. Made my handicap 14 horse field. 14 horse field. Wins. Pays $20, whatever the horse paid. I don't have that specific combo. Remember, my order of finish is 6, 9, 13, 5. What happens? The 5 wins. The 13 is second, and my 6 is third. Do so much right and not get paid. All right? I hope this didn't shut off. What happened? So, anyway, thank you for sitting by my recap. Let me know what you feel, what you think, what's your reaction of Championship Saturday, and as a horse player, and as a handicap, and for those that are going to be with me in the future, you got to know one thing, all right? Intensity is important. Attention to every detail is important. You don't win at this game without putting the time into it. But even though you could cover all bases and you could be extremely astute in your ways and could actually have a crystal ball-like anticipation of how a race is going to unfold, and you could still tear up a ticket. That's what brings us back, but that's what makes this game so frustrating, so energetic, and so engaging at times. We all want to win, and it's nice when I've had Breeders' Cup where I've had 8 or 9 winners on top. That I've had where I had 1 or 2. And all the dirty work, all the hard horses, all the big, the tougher evaluations come through, and the easier stuff don't. That's the nature of the beast. Let me know what you think about the show in your comments. Let's have a great Sunday. God bless you. God bless your families. And remember, if you're going to stay in this game, in the sport of kings, you got to persevere. Yes, I don't like losing. I know you guys don't like losing. Make sure you eat well. Don't go spending all your money on racing and not eat. Take care of your lady or if you're a guy. If you're a lady watching, take care of your man. Above all, take care of your kids. But enjoy and look forward to the next full card. For those of you who don't have my email address, you want to shoot me an email. focus to the finish at gmail.com. Let me know if you're going to be in my corner to close out 25 and to be back with me for all the excitement through the spring leading to the first Saturday in May, the Kentucky Derby. Let me know, okay? You stay well, and I'll see you real soon. You go get them.